And welcome back to another episode of the Bases Loaded podcast, presented to you by the Idiots Podcast Network. I'm idiot number one. I'm your host, Zach. How you guys doing today? We got idiot number two on my left. Adam, how you doing?
Doing great. Hope you're doing well, and hope all is well for everyone.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. So we're going to continue our top five list here. This one's going to be all about second baseman. So we're going to get right into it, and I'm actually going to kick this one off, a little lead-off action here, like a lot of these second basemen. And my number 5 is going to be Andres Gimenez of the Cleveland Guardians.
Good pick.
I personally, I watched him play on the Mets for about a half a season, maybe a little less. Had a cup of coffee with us in the major leagues. I really liked him when he played in 2020. A guy I was actually expecting the Mets to keep in terms of just being this type of player. We seemingly had a hole at second base at the time. Weren't sure if we were going to keep McNeil, but sadly he's been traded to the Guardians. He's been there the last 2 years. Last year had a phenomenal year. I mean, this guy almost had 20 home runs, 70 ribbies, 20 stolen bags, and he's batting damn near 300. I mean, what more can you ask out of a second baseman? This guy plays Gold Glove caliber second base. I mean, he won the Gold Glove last year. He's speedy on the base paths. He hits well. Hell, this guy has a little bit of everything. I mean, there's nothing to not like about Gimenez. So I'm pretty excited for him next season. I think with this with the change in the way the base running is going to be, especially with the pitch clock, the amount of times pitchers are allowed to throw over to first, second, and third base being limited now, and the getting rid of the shift. I think that these are all in favor of Gimenez, and I think we're gonna actually watch him do even better than what he's done already. I think we're gonna watch this guy have another great season in his year 24 season, his 4th year in the league. So I'm pretty excited for it, Adam. I'm not gonna lie.
Love Gimenez. As a young guy, he might have the best glove at second base. Like right now, he might have taken over that spot. Really like the young guy.
100%, and he's on a young rising team. I mean, what's not to like about this? I think he has a lot of interesting stuff going for him.
Definitely. Yeah. You'll see a lot more for him to come. And for me, I'm going to first give off an honorable mention. Somebody I wanted to put on my 5 is Trevor Story. I do like him. I like him a lot. Loved him on Colorado now that he transitioned to second base. His stats pop out to me a lot, except for these past 2 seasons. He's kind of taken a dip, and I think he will do a lot better than he did last year, but I can't bet on it to make him a top 5 player on this list. But I do have high hopes for him.
Now, I know he's coming off an elbow injury. It seems like, he's going to return at some point this season. He might not be ready to go day one, but, I mean, obviously, I would like to see Trevor Story really step it up again. He's really in a primetime role at this point. They got rid of Bogey, so it's time for Trevor Story to, live up to the money they paid him at this point, and we're really going to get to see whether or not he's truly the player we thought he was in Colorado.
Yeah, I do like him a lot. I really hope, and I hope he bounces back from an kind of disappointing year last year. And my number 5, I'm going to have to go with Ozzie Albies. I don't like the man. I keep thinking he's overrated. He gets a lot of hype from being on such a great team. But then you look at his stats and go, they are pretty nice. He has 2 Silver Sluggers and 2 All-Star Games appearances. In his early years, between 18 and 19 and 17, he was batting close to 300, but in all-time has a 271 batting average, hits plenty of home runs, gets his bags when he needs to. The only reason I have him on 5 is kind of the same reason as Trevor Story. Besides getting hurt and not playing a lot of games last year, 2021 doesn't really pop out to me as like a standout year as many people think it is. It was a really good year.
He hit 30 home runs and had 106 RBIs and 20 stolen bags. What do you mean? He had a 2020 season and batted 260. He played great.
Okay.
As much as I hate him because he's a Brave, he still played great.
He did play great. The 30, I'm not going to lie, I missed the 30 home runs. That's a really nice stat to have right there.
7 triples, Adam. 7.
I don't know. The 259 average isn't the greatest.
He had 40 doubles. Adam.
It's nice. It's a good year. Okay, fine. It's a good year. I don't know. Everything I see about him, everything I watch about him, it doesn't pop out to me. There's something about him. I can't get behind it. Yeah, he has a really good 2021 season. does he do it again? Does he? I don't know if I could see it. I don't know. Uh, he's an enigma in my mind. Maybe I underrate him. Maybe I spite him. He's number 5 on my list, and that's where I'm going to keep him.
I mean, hey, look, he's not too far away in my list. He's number 4 on my rankings. Because I'll be honest with you, yeah, we saw Ozzy Albies not really play a full season last year. Played 64 games, but Ozzy Albies is a guy who gets the job done. I mean, we don't like him at second base, but he's a switch hitting player. He's only 26. He's pretty good at, pretty good behind the at the dish. He gets the job done, and especially with the loss of a guy like Dansby Swanson, they're gonna need some little extra power in the lineup. They're gonna need somebody to get those runs back. We'll probably see Ozzy bat like what? I think he's gonna bat in the top 5 of the order. I mean, if he's batting behind the cleanup spot, he's your protection bat. Personally, I like Albies. I think we're going to see a strong season out of him. I expect him to bat in that 250, 260 range. Probably have about 25 homers, near 100 RBIs. He's going to be a dude who gets a lot of stolen bases this year, too. I think second base is going to be a position that's heavily affected because a lot of these guys are a little faster, a little bit more speed-oriented players. I think, with all the rule changes that we previously described, I think Ozzy Albies is going to get a guy. He's going to be a guy who's going to get a couple more triples. He's going to be a guy who's going to get a couple more stolen bases. I think this will reflect in his stats this year. I think we'll watch Albies have a pretty good year. Most likely an all-star level caliber year. As much as I don't like him being a Brave, he is kind of a Met killer, and this is a guy I do expect to have a good year.
Yeah, I don't blame you with that. And for my number 4, I'm going to go back to your pick and go Andres Gimenez. What I like more about Andres Gimenez is his fielding. I think he might be the best fielder I've watched in a very long time at second base. He's young, he's fast, he understands the game so well, so light on his feet, light with his hands. Watching him field is a highlight reel every time he touches the ball. So smooth, so elegant, and his bat is only going to get better and better as he gets more experience in this league. From going from around 260 batter to then popping off last year to go 297. He's got a little more pop in his bat, getting closer, hitting more home runs, getting plenty more bags. As you said, he's going to be an All-Star game appearance, more All-Star game appearances, more Gold Gloves in his name, and he's going to be valued as a very high second baseman in this league. I think there's only going up for this kid, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen these next many years to come for this guy.
No, I mean, I very much agree with you. I like that we had these two players kind of flip-flopped. I mean, two very young guys. One obviously a much better fielder than the other, but, one definitely has a little bit more power in his twig than the other. I will say that. So, it keeps it interesting. Two very, very young second basemen to start off this list.
What I want to say is it's only one stat, but it is a very important stat in nowadays is the OPS plus. Ozzy Albies never had an OPS plus higher than 113. Andres Gimenez is a 141 OPS plus last season. He was really just efficient with the bat. He was on base all the time. He's such a smart player. I love this kid, and I think he's just going to keep getting better.
No, I mean, I get it. I get where you're coming from here. Makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll keep walking on down the line here. Move down to number 3. So at my number 3, Adam, I have a guy who definitely had a down season last year, a guy I really like. I think that, something that's been a part of his game that not a lot of people talk about is the longevity. The ability to play 150, 160 games a season is something you don't see out of every guy. So my pick is Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers, a guy I think is going to really be a lot better this year. They got some more bats in the lineup. Everyone's coming back, guys like Adolis Garcia got a little bit more experience with them. It's big. Things like that are big because then you have another hitter in the lineup. You got another guy that's going to get on base, and that's awesome for Marcus Semien because, he's going to clean everybody off the bases. He's going to get that job done. So, although he only hit 26 homers last year through 161 games, I think we're going to see, definitely a shift in his RBI numbers. First year really playing in Texas's ballpark. I think those numbers are going to adjust a little bit back to the mean. We're going to see him hit closer to 30 home runs. I think we're going to see him get closer to, that 90 RBI spot. Now, he did have 25 stolen bags last year. This is a guy who, for the first time in his career, surpassed 20 stolen bases in a season. And something that I like about that is that moving on the bases is going to be big this year. It's going to be bigger than it's been in years past.
It's I mean, yeah, really, it's going to be more valuable, and players are finally realizing it. And after a long decade of just not many people stealing bases, it's definitely going to make a return and make an impact in this league.
The 2020 player is definitely more prevalent nowadays than it's ever been. That power speed combo hasn't really been there in the past, but it's something that's becoming ever more valuable in the modern MLB. Definitely. Especially with these recent rule changes, I'm really a fan of that. I would love to see this guy have another 2020 season. I mean, hell, this is a dude that Marcus Semien could be a 30-30 player. People don't talk about that like he could be. I mean, obviously he doesn't have a ton of accolades. I mean, this is a guy that really could be a 30-30 player at the end of the day, especially on a rising Texas Rangers team, a team that's going to be a lot better this year. I'm excited for Marcus Semien. I'm excited for his numbers. I think that this is going to be a big season for him, especially at his age 32 season. He's definitely in the middle of his prime, so I'm locked and loaded on him. At my number 3 spot, I think he's ready to go.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But I think we're going to have these next 2 picks flopped as well, because for my number 3, I'm going to go with Jeff McNeil. And between McNeil and Semien, you could flip-flop them at 2 and 3. They are so close, but the only thing is their roles on each other's teams is extremely different. Marcus Semien is the pop, the play every day, the heart and soul, one of the players that are the heart and soul of that Rangers team, while Jeff McNeil is the get-on-base guy, get the ball on the field, get on base, do his job.
Get a hit, get on.
He understands his job, and he does it so well every time he steps up to the plate. The recent batting title winner, Silver Slug winner last year. Can't say more about this guy. 326 batting average last year, something you do not see very often, and only one other time did he bat below 300. That's incredible in today's day and age, and I can't, he doesn't need pop in his bat, but he can if he had to. His swing is so pure, might be one of the best in the league. A lefty that can hit to all fields, very, very, very valuable to any team he would ever play for.
It's a rare skill to have in today's game, is to be able to kind of pinpoint your hits and really be able to hit it around the ballpark. Hit it to different spots at will. You don't see guys really have that type of bat control.
Yeah, and especially with now the shift not being a thing anymore, that just opens up the field for him so much more. It didn't even bother him in the first place. Now it's just going to make his life so much more easier.
Well, it makes getting those nice little singles, right over the second baseman's head all that much easier.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to go crazy. He's able to really use his golf, his scratch golf abilities, as he likes to brag about, to his full advantage here. Something that, you and I definitely enjoy a lot, while watching our Mets.
I've never seen a guy so in control of his bat where if he wanted to put it into left field, right field, over the third base, over the first baseman, he could do that just because he has so much control over his bat. And it's really impressive. The only reason I have number 3 is kind of his spotty play, his injuries. He's never played. Last year was his most. He played at 148 and never played 140 games ever again. But other than that, still love him. Still can't speak more about him. Maybe the number 2 guy. I'm just keeping him at 3 for now.
No, it makes sense. So obviously, my number 2 pick. We just spoke about him, Jeff McNeil. I like McNeil. I like that he hits so well, and like we said, we really hit a lot of the important stuff. Now, something I think that's a little undervalued for Jeff McNeil is, his defense definitely took a huge step up last year. I got to say, I never thought Jeff McNeil was going to be the defensive player he was last year. He was phenomenal. He was arguably one of the best second basemen, fielding in the league. I mean, the fact that he didn't win a Gold Glove, I was a little disappointed. I thought he was going to be the Silver Slugger Gold Glove winner. I really thought he was going to do it, but maybe that's just because he's so efficient at playing in the field, in the outfield, at third base, at second base. I mean, how many guys do you know that can play multiple positions and play Gold Glove caliber defense at 3 separate positions? I mean, you don't see that. You just don't. So I like McNeil. I think he's a little bit more valuable than people expect him to be. I think especially fielding wise, that definitely helps out improve his WAR and truly show his true value. I like McNeil as a guy I'm always going to really enjoy watching play. So I expect a lot from him, coming up this season.
Yeah, I can agree more.
And with great table setter.
Yeah, and now with my number 2, Marcus Semien, obviously. What pops out to me the most is his 2019 and 2021 season. You look at those stats with batting 285 and 265, hitting 45 home runs in 2021. And he plays every single damn day. That is so important. I value what he brings to the table more than maybe Jeff McNeil, because they just play different roles. I don't really. It's hard to compare the two, I think. But I love Marcus Semien. I think he should be talked about a little more, if anything. He brings so much to the table on a team that really needs him so much more.
And a team that gave him a fat contract, too. Let's not forget about that. I mean, this is a guy that's going to be making over $300 million over his time on the, on the freaking Rangers, man. Yeah. So I expect him to be really a power bat. I mean, that's what the Rangers expect. That's what I expect. I mean, that's what the money expects at this point.
And you don't see a second baseman going for 30 home runs, close to 30-plus home runs every season. Like, that's not often at all. And he could do that every single time he steps to the plate. I can't speak more about him. Even though last year was a quote-unquote down year, still a great season for him, and he's just only going to get better with his second year in Texas.
No, I mean, I really agree with you, man. I mean, who knows what Marcus Semien could do. I think he's a special talent. He's going to be special this year. So it's been very interesting. We had our fifth and our fourth flip-flopped. We had our second and our thirds flip-flopped. But I think we both have the same number one.
Easily.
Jose Altuve. I think this was a very clear-cut, pick. This is obviously the best second baseman in the league. We're not going to put it past him. I mean, look, when he was younger, he was able to put up seasons where he had 50-something steals, 30-something steals. Do I think we're going to see him have a huge steal year? Maybe. I mean, he's going to be going into his year 33 season. We saw him get 18 bags last year, more than the previous 3 seasons combined, especially without this shift. This is another guy that could be a very, very, valuable player for his team. Go for a 2020 season, something he hasn't done in a long time in his career, but something that's very capable for Jose Altuve. He doesn't get a ton of RBIs, but he gets a ton of runs. I mean, we know how valuable he is to the Astros. We know how good he is as a batter, as a fielder. I mean, there's not much else to say. He is clear-cut the best second baseman in the league, regardless of his past, regardless of anything. He's the best second baseman.
He's been doing this for 12 years, and he's been holding that title for probably 10 of those years. He's incredible. And what I love most about him is coming into his 13th year now. In the front half of his season, of his career, he was hitting for average. He was fast. He was, everything you expect out of a 5'6" guy playing second base. Now he transitioned as he's getting older. He's putting the ball more over the fence now, and that's actually impressive as getting older and the body and the wear and tear of second base getting on him. He's actually able to generate more power, and that just speaks more for him that he could do it all. I can't even understand it. He could bat for 300 and hit almost 30 home runs. That's incredible. That any more than that can win you an MVP, and he has won one before, and he could still, at the age of 33, do it again.
I mean, yeah, he has six Silver Sluggers. I mean, he's been in the MVP conversation, several times. I like Altuve. There's not, I don't have much else to say about him. I do agree with Adam. I think that flip from more of a an on-base guy to a little bit more pop in his bat. I think that type of transition for a player, throughout their career is hard enough, but to be able to do it so effectively like Altuve has, I give him a lot of credit there.
Definitely. Thank you.
That's I'm gonna say that's gonna wrap up our second baseman episode. Adam, you have anything you'd like to add to the folks at home?
This was a more fun position to talk about than I thought it would be. It's a lot of not good second basemen in this league, but these guys, these top 5, very fun to talk about. Very good people.
I agree with you. I think the top tier second baseman, definitely a lot more fun to talk about. Definitely a lot of interesting things to say about each of them. And the list could have been a little different too. I mean, had we had a third person here, it could have been a little shaky. Could have heard some other names. Maybe you hear about Cronensworth. Maybe you hear about Gavin Lux. I mean, there's definitely a lot of second basemen this year that are going to be up to be a top 5 player at this position. I mean, it's definitely got a little bit of flow to the position itself. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
But that being said, that's all from us today. We really appreciate you guys listening and whatnot. So from us at the Idiots Podcast Studio, we'd like to thank you for coming out. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.